All right, so I'm currently in the mountains. Look at the beautiful view behind me. So I've been thinking a lot about what it takes and what it took me from working minimum wage to making millions of dollars online. And I don't want this video to be about some basic beliefs, but what I want this to be is I want to really resonate with the people that are watching this that either worked a corporate job, worked a minimum wage job like I did, and how you can change your mental beliefs and use mental frameworks in order to become successful, because I'm not special. I don't have a super high IQ or anything like that. So let's go inside. I'm gonna sit down and show you what I learned in the last couple years. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is abundance. And in my opinion, there's two types of abundance. There is the unrealistic abundance, and then there's the realistic abundance. Now, unrealistic abundance is essentially when you want something that you definitely do not have the means to afford. For example, that dream car, that dream house, something that you just do not have the means to get right now. Now, this concept of unrealistic abundance is extremely important because these are the goals that you're going to set for yourself. You must start with a goal, because if you have no goals, then you have no North Star. You have no idea where you're going. And it doesn't just have to be materialistic things. It could be something that fuels your purpose. Why are you getting up every single day? Why are you willing to go through so much pain on the day-to-day, so much failure to try to make this work? What is the thing that you are trying to constantly achieve? One of my main motivators was me not wanting to be trapped in a cubicle Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, working 8 hours a day, 5 days of the week, and basically just repeating that cycle every single week for years on end. I realized that what I wanted was not necessarily money, but I wanted money so that I could have the freedom to do whatever I want. Like I said, I call this unrealistic abundance because this is where you want to get to. Now, in order to achieve unrealistic abundance, those massive goals that you have to implement realistic abundance. Now, realistic abundance is those things that you can start doing today. And if you're not writing notes, this is where you should be starting to write notes. So ask yourself this question: what are the things that you can afford or barely afford right now that is going to push you towards that North Star? You always saying, I can't afford it or it's expensive, isn't the mindset you should have. What you should be doing is asking, how much value will this thing provide in my life in order to get me to that goal? And even if you can't afford that thing, whether it be a course, whether it be a mentorship, don't ask yourself, why can't I afford it? Ask yourself, how can I afford it? Meaning, what are the steps that I need to take to afford it? So for example, let's say you wanted to buy a course or a mentorship for $5,000 or $10,000 and you have $2,000 in your account. What you can do and should do, which is what I've done, is I actually worked my way. I worked minimum wage jobs, I worked office jobs in order to afford either starting my first business or purchasing that information that is going to help me do that thing. And the reason why is because although that course or that mentorship costs more than 100% of my net worth, I saw the value in it. I realized that this one thing can get me to where I want to be. And I had this delusional optimism about it. And I knew that as long as I implemented it, maybe that one thing wouldn't get me to my goal, but I only have a couple $1,000s in my bank account anyways. I knew that this thing that I wanted to purchase had a lot of value behind it, and I'd be able to educate myself and push myself towards that North Star. But it costed more than 100% of my net worth. So what do we do here? Well, number one, I could work my way. I could work pushing carts to minimum wage. I could work at an office job for $20, $25 an hour, and I could grind there until I was able to afford this thing. Now, just to contrast for a second, let's say you only have $5,000 in your bank account. You really have to ask yourself, okay, how much do I make per week? How much do I make per month? And how much do I actually save? Let's say you save $3,000, $4,000 a month by working full-time 9 to 5. And let's say that your goal is to make $10, $20, $30, $50, $100,000 every month. Well, obviously, if that's your goal, your current position isn't going to help you. So you're going to have to figure out how to educate yourself in order to reinvent yourself, in order to become that person that makes that amount of money. And you're not going to do it by staying in the same place. The proof is in the pudding. People get paid based off of the problems that they solve. Meaning if they solve a complex problem, they're going to naturally get paid more for that thing. And the only way to actually solve that complex problem is to educate yourself, is to have the experience. Smart isn't IQ, smart is experience. And I see this time and time again with some of the most wealthy friends that I have. So this shift in your mindset is something that most of my wealthy friends have, honestly, if not all of them. You constantly have to make that effort of reinvesting in yourself, because if you don't reinvest in yourself and if you just hold on to your cash, then your growth is going to stay stagnant. That's why you hear of people like Alex Hormozi paying Grant Cardone $100,000 for a phone call, because he knows that that one phone call can bring his business from $100 million a year to $120 million a year. So what is $100,000 really? Making your first couple dollars online is going to be the hardest. It's a lot easier when you purchase education or when you just find somebody to learn from. And then as soon as you start making money, as soon as you make your first couple thousand, maybe $10,000, you should immediately figure out where to reinvest that money back into. And the reason why is because now you have some foundation built up. Now you've made money online. Now you know that it's possible. So what you should be doing is figuring out where I can learn from, where I can make my knowledge more dense and my time more valuable, because it truly is just about leverage when you're making money. I know a lot of people get emotional about money because your identity is almost attached to how much money that you have. But your relationship with money is the determining factor on how much money you actually attract. Meaning if you're fearful on spending your money, then you're gonna stay stagnant. If you're penny pinching, if you're always thinking about, oh my gosh, this steak is $5 more than this steak, and not seeing the value behind the food, for example, regular steak B class versus A class grass fed, you need to understand that there is a value associated with paying more. And oftentimes this is the case for anything around food, anything around education, networking events, whatever it is. The last thing I want to say about abundance is I'm not telling you to go spend your money however you please. All I'm saying is that you need to understand the value associated with what you're spending your money on, not the dollar amount. If you're constantly looking at the dollar amount, you're going to be at a significant disadvantage. And that's one of the mental frameworks that I need you to shift ASAP. Now, if you still don't believe me, I recommend you going to a networking event. A networking event with a bunch of entrepreneurs that are a lot more successful than you, and you will see firsthand that these people are not smarter than you. They just think about things a little bit differently. They think about spending money differently. They think about education differently. They think about food differently. They think about travel differently. I used to think myself that buying a first class ticket when traveling is absolutely ridiculous. Why would I spend $3,000-$5,000 on a flight when I could just spend $500? But then I realized when I got on that plane, the experience is completely different. When you travel first class, what you realize when you leave the plane is that you're well fed, you're well rested, you get off the plane, and it's like you just spent 8 hours in your bedroom. You're fully energized, ready to go. But when you're sitting in economy with the broke people, your energy is completely different. You get off the flight exhausted, and all you want to do is go to your hotel room and sleep. Again, look at the value behind the thing that you're buying. Unrealistic abundance, find your North Star and work towards it every single day. Realistic abundance, when you are spending your money, which you're gonna do anyway, understand the value behind what you're spending it on and not the dollar amount that it costs. The next thing that I want to get into is grinding alone. And this right here is all dependent on your current environment. A lot of people have this idea that monk mode is going to make you successful. And I agree. It's very important that you lock in, work on yourself, work on your business as much as you possibly can. Oftentimes, I feel like this is misinformation because so many people get caught up and think they just need to lock in and talk to nobody. Yes, there are seasons in your life and in your business where you should constantly be working because you know what to work on. But if you're somebody that doesn't know exactly where to go right now, one of the best things that you could do for yourself is start talking to people within the industry. Go to networking events, join masterminds, jump on calls, just start talking to people that are either where you are currently at or levels above you. The reason why I say that is because oftentimes when you grind, you might not be working on the thing that you should be working on. And that will be the difference from your business staying where it's currently at to growing exponentially. The reason why I say that is because there could be one piece of information that you're missing or just overlooked that can completely change the game for you. So this isolation that everybody talks about, this monk mode, can significantly cap your growth. You need people around you to feed you suggestions constantly, and again, people within your business so that you can get ideas on how to grow the business. Consistency is great, but if you're consistently doing the wrong thing, it's gonna lead you nowhere. You have to consistently optimize. And I've seen this time and time again within my own life. Me going to networking events influenced my decision to drop out of school. And if I didn't drop out of school, who knows where I would be? If I didn't go to that networking event in 2020, I could have had the complete opposite life I'm living right now. Right now, I'm in the beautiful mountains. I drove my Lambo up here. I've been living in one suitcase since January, seeing the world and also working on my purpose. I would have never thought this would be possible 5 years ago. If my younger self can see the life that I'm living now, he wouldn't even recognize me. And that's because I was so trapped in my environment. I was so isolated within college. Everybody I knew was just focusing on studying, focusing on partying when they're not studying, and then also focusing on paying their student debt through their minimum wage jobs. So please go to that networking event, go to that conference. It doesn't matter how much it costs, it matters the value that's associated with it. The person that you're sitting next to could be your next business partner. The person that you're sitting next to will give you one piece of information that can completely change the game for you. And that's because of the butterfly effect. One minor change today can make a significant impact a month, a year, or even 10 years from now. You are one decision away to build that momentum into the life that you want for yourself and your family. And once your average conscious mind is exposed to this thing called the butterfly effect, you'll never see the world the same again. Because you know that every single decision that you make today will have a massive impact for the future. Meaning if you stay the same, then your future is going to look the same. But if you make small changes starting today, who knows where you're going to end up 12 months from now. Next, you need to expose your subconscious mind to what's actually possible. Most people go through life not understanding that they can achieve more because consciously, your brain does not understand you can achieve these things because it's never seen it. If your brain hasn't seen it before, it probably can't achieve it. And that's your conscious mind fighting against what you want. So what you need to do is you need to go into your subconscious mind and just imagine for a second, and do this every single day. Imagine that you are where you want to be. If you do that every single day, you are going to constantly remind yourself that you have this goal, you have this North Star in mind, and you are going to put in the inputs subconsciously and consciously every single day to achieve that thing. Success is this lagging indicator, meaning that you have to put in the inputs every single day in order to see some sort of result. And that result can come 3 months, 6 months, even 12 months from now. But if you look back and if you connect the dots, looking back, you will see how much growth you have achieved. Going to the gym and getting fit is not easy. Building a business to 10K a month or $100,000 a month is not easy. It requires a slow, painful process every single day. And you have to understand that. You have to understand, as somebody that wants to achieve something great in the life that you want, that is going to take a lot of painstaking work. If you want to achieve something great, then the pain of your current life has to be a lot higher than the pain of starting. The reason why I say that is because a lot of people make a couple $100,000 a year and they're very comfortable. They're very comfortable with their life. They're not stressed. They go on vacations a couple times a year. You know, they're comfortable. They're maybe a little bit happy. And so the pain of them trying to start a business is a lot higher than their life right now, so they're never going to do that thing. Even if you're in that position where you're comfortable, you have to figure out how to amplify the pain of your current life as much as possible right now. That way, starting a business is way less painful. And then making that conscious effort to put those inputs, put those reps in every single day is going to be super easy for you. So just trick yourself to amplify the pain of your current life. And starting a business, that's going to be a breeze. Every failure you experience, you're going to understand that you are working towards that North Star, that specific goal that you have in mind. So it's no big deal. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about that's going to allow you to implement kind of everything I talked about in this video, and again, I hope you took notes, is I want to talk about time blocking. I think time blocking is extremely important in your day because you will realize once you time block your day hour by hour, how much time you're actually wasting. Most people are probably wasting 2 to 3 hours of deep work in their day. And I'm telling you, if you just spent 2 hours every single day for the next couple months, you can make significant changes in your life. 2 hours a day is 60 hours a month. And in my opinion, it takes at least 100 hours of effort in order to make something work. Meaning within 2 months, you can start seeing that business grow. Meaning within just 2 months, you can start generating income online. And even if that business fails, even if it completely flops, you have now acquired so much skill in the industry that you can go ahead and start another business. If that fails, start another one. It took me about 6 businesses, 6 failures over the course of years to finally get my first business off the ground. And how much time did I put into those 6 years? Probably 100, 200 hours. Nothing crazy. So if I just condensed that down and worked a couple hundred hours within a couple months, I would have been way successful way earlier in life. But I'm glad that I went through that pain of waiting years, because now I know, and now you know too. I'm gonna cut it off here. If you want me to speak about anything else, my experiences, whatever it is, in the next video, just drop it in the comments. I'm gonna read and respond to all the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.